Welcome to Mega Gaming. This is take two, and we are going to be looking at 5 of the 12 Wheel of Fortune games that we played today. Both Meg and I. We're going to be looking at the Apple II, Game Gear, MS-DOS, 1987 release, Nintendo 64, and Super Nintendo releases. All four are definitely playable games, and all five, and all five were at least recommended by one of us, if not both. And we'll go through the games. For the Apple II version, it is released by ShareData Incorporated in 1988. They are also the ones who published the DOS and Commodore 64 versions. You get to choose, there's 3 competitors. You can do up to 2 computer or up to 3 humans. You have to have at least 1 human player to play the game. You didn't have much chance to try out the game single player. We focus on how well it works as a multiplayer game. Of course, with games like this on the Apple II, there is quite a bit of loading time from the discs, but that's to be expected. It's a 1987 disc-based game. If you want to pick up a copy, right now there's a bundle of 4 Apple II games on eBay for $20, which includes this game. And it can be easily found for less than $10. Go ahead and show off some of the gameplay footage here. It is quite easy to navigate. Just press the keyboard button. It tells you exactly which buttons do what. So if you want 3 players, you press a 3 on this screen, or 2 players, you press 2, etc. The music for being on the Apple II, it is an acceptable rendition of the Wheel of Fortune theme. The graphics are quite well done, and it's easy to tell who is the person playing at the moment and exactly how the game is progressing. It's easy to see the game actual board as well, with good contrast between the letters, the blocks that are used for hiding the letters, as well as just the ones that are used as spacers. Controls are very responsive. There's no frivolous extras in this game, like cutscenes or extra graphics or other things that get in the way of the experience. It's just straightforward Wheel of Fortune. It's actually the one we had the most fun with out of the 5 we're covering. And it's mostly because it's just that easy to play. You have the wheel, score, the options, the play board, everything on one single screen. So like I said, it's very easy to tell what's going on. You have the kind of odd and definitely dated looking pixelized version of Vanna White on the screen. But yeah, as far as just playability, anybody could hop on this game if they've used a keyboard before and have no issue at all playing the game. Next, we will move on to the Game Gear version. Game Gear version was published by GameTech, developed by Magitech Design, supports up to 3 players. It's released in the US in 1992. For the Mega Drive, the Game Gear version came the next following year in 1993. As far as the Game Gear version goes, it has a relatively decent chiptune version of the theme song. Great presentation, and it's easy to get into the game and play. Definitely be something that'd be great as a time waster if you're in the car with another person on a road trip as a passenger. And it's a game that, while it's not going to be the best game in anybody's collection, it's definitely one that Lots of people can play, whether they're casual gamers or more hardcore gamers, and definitely find fun in the game. Now going back in time, let's take a look at what some of the reviews were. Get this pulled up. I have a November 1992 version of Sega Pro, where they reviewed the game, which I will go ahead and put on the screen now. It's like page 46. Now, if you want to pick up a copy of the Game Gear version, according to price charting, it's about $7.75 for it loose on average, $30 complete in box, $50 new. Really not terrible pricing. It's definitely a game that's worth $10 to pick up the cart for. And if you need the rest of it for a collection, you can definitely do worse. And of course, this PDF is taking a while to load. This looks like it's a Mega Drive review. Thought it was the Game Gear one, but yeah, Sega Pro was quite rough on the game, giving it a 43. Stating it is a sad waste of the Mega Drive. But yeah, the Mega Drive version definitely feels like a rough port of the Game Gear version instead of the other way around. Definitely a game that's much more suitable for the portable platform. Okay, now on to the next game. If I can click the right stuff. The MS-DOS version, which I went to Abandonware DOS and went ahead and played it in the browser just for ease of use, so I wouldn't have to spend any time getting DOSBox set up on this computer. As far as the DOS version goes, you can pick up complete in box. Often complete in box for $20 or $30 on eBay. If you can find the loose discs, it's a bit more rare, but they usually go for not a whole lot of money. It's definitely a game you can find for $10 or less, or at least a version of it. This is a 1987 version for DOS. There are some rather odd PC speaker sound effects for this game, but it's not too bad. It's much like the Apple II version, it's easy to tell what to do. It clearly tells you which buttons to press on the screen to do which action. You get a different version of Vanna, you get the CGA version of Vanna. The color scheme chosen for the VGA is quite rough, but it is clear to tell what's going on. The CGA palette didn't leave a whole lot of options for games like this. However, it's the gameplay that matters. We didn't have much time to investigate the AI, but the AI in this version did seem to make a lot of bad decisions early on in the game. However, towards the end, if it was a puzzle that should have been solved, the AI solved the puzzle as expected. Now on to a more modern version with the Nintendo 64 version. Nintendo 64 version felt much like what the Sega CD version was trying to do and mostly failed at. It has a really appealing intro. The menus do look kinda cheap, but are easy to navigate. The cutscenes are quite a bit more clear and well done. Image of the wheel looks great. A lot of the extras in this game feel less like they're just getting in the way of the gameplay like the Sega CD version and actually add to the experience. It is possible to set up a match in this one with all computer players or up to 3 human players. So yeah, with the Nintendo 64 version, it was released on December 2nd, 1997, and developed and published by GameTech. It is one of the worst selling of the Nintendo 64 titles. On most lists I saw, they had it around 140th as far as total sales go. As far as reader reviews for the game, this is a game that's actually quite well received by the people that did pick it up, including somebody that gave it a 10 out of 10 on GameFAQs. The worst one from a reader is a 7 out of 10, which has the title of just as addictive as the game show, but without the flashy effects. It's quite well done if you want a version of Wheel of Fortune and have a Nintendo 64 or a way to play Nintendo 64 games. It's definitely worth checking out. And you do have some extra options that are much appreciated, like being able to set the game length, set skill level, and the sprites that you can choose from for the characters are quite a bit more appealing than the 8 and 16-bit counterparts. However, a lot of the sprites you can see where they were cut out from another source. Even you can see the jagged edges and occasionally see some leftover aspects of the original picture it was taken from. But overall, it's a quite well done version of Wheel of Fortune. Definitely playable. And now we'll go on, start playing the video for the Super Nintendo version. Now, if you want to pick up Wheel of Fortune for the Nintendo 64, loose it's about $10, complete in box about $24, and new goes for about $75. So it is, as far as just somebody collecting loose games, it is quite affordable. Now for the Super Nintendo version, we looked at the Deluxe edition. It's published by GameTech, developed by Magitech Design, and released in April of 1994. This is one where our opinions of the game were quite a bit more split than the previous games. With Meg believing it was a well done game, definitely not a top tier game, but definitely something she would recommend. And me just barely putting in the recommend category. As far as the graphics, the sprite work is quite well done. It's easy to tell what's going on. The extra cutscenes are acceptable. You do have the goofy 90s looking characters to choose from as far as the game goes. But yeah, wasn't anything overly frustrating or bad about the game. The pacing and timing for everything was quite good. It gave you a more appropriate amount of time to select what you're selecting, unlike some other versions which gave you what accounted to what was supposed to be 8 seconds but was quite a bit faster. which could also be due to the hardware I was playing it on. But yeah, the graphics are acceptable for the game. The wheel option is a bit odd. It's just a color wheel with a black background, but you can at least tell what's going on. At, and it is clear to tell who is currently choosing. With some of the other versions of the Wheel of Fortune, you almost had to you had to definitely pay attention to who was up spinning, or else when you got to the next game menu, it might not tell you who is playing, and you could easily forget who was actually supposed to be selecting the letter. And for this, the music's quite well done as well. It's an acceptable chiptune representation. And it does make it quite easy to actually play the game, showing you which buttons to press for what, and makes it quite easy to select the different letters as you go. So yeah, not a whole lot to discuss with these games. It's Wheel of Fortune. As far as our enjoyment of the games, we enjoyed the two older games and from the Apple II and the MS-DOS and the Game Gear version the most. Nintendo 64 was up there, and the Super Nintendo, while out of the five was the one we enjoyed the least, is definitely still fun. As far as our overall list of all the games we have reviewed so far, let me get that pulled up. We have a total of 64 games we've covered in different videos and given a review score to. Averaging out the reviews of everybody in the group, the Wheel of Fortune game for the Apple II is 18th. The one for the Game Gear is 19th. The MS-DOS version from 1987 is 20th. 26th for the Nintendo 64 version, and 28th for the Deluxe edition on Super Nintendo. His scores are definitely skewed a little bit high due to Megan enjoying more casual games like this more so than I. However, all five of these games are games that if you can pick them up for $10 or less, definitely jump on it, especially if you have other people to play the game with. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Check out some other videos and have a great day.